My name is Silas White. My wife and I live in Gibsons, and when we were growing up in Pender Harbour in the 1990s and 1980s, we estimate about 3/4 of our classmates were from families whose incomes were primarily earned from logging and fishing. We both left the coast to get educated in Vancouver and Toronto, and have taken a number of opportunities to travel to many locations around the world. I think we surprised each other by deciding to come back here of all places to live. We wanted our kids to grow up in this beautiful small community environment close to their grandparents. And speaking for myself, the coast is in my blood. When we looked for a reasonable starter home in 2005, we started out in Pender Harbour, but didn't find one until we reached Gibsons. I can't really complain about this because we love Gibsons and were able to upgrade within a few years, but there was definitely a lack of options. I have to say I'm more excited about the future of the Sunshine Coast than I was when we first returned 8 years ago, even though the median age has only risen and no doubt there are less jobs. I do feel our community has turned a corner in recognizing that the direction we've been heading in as a retirement community does not honor the history or character of this region. And retirees themselves are just as likely as anyone to feel this way. The status quo, unfortunately, is the replacement of our resource economy with the identity as a place to retire. And this status quo has been in motion for at least a couple of decades. Those fishing and logging jobs that sustained 3/4 of the families in my school mostly don't exist anymore. Enrollment in our schools has been on a steep decline, and the Sunshine Coast median age is now over 50, the second highest in the province. So how do we shift the Sunshine Coast back to where we used to be demographically? A lot of people of all ages are now putting their minds to this question, including in our municipal governments. This was not the case 10 or even 5 years ago. So with the provincial election coming up, I want to know what our MLA candidates have to contribute to this dialogue and what they can do to find some solutions as community political leaders. Thanks for listening.